everyone, and welcome back. Of course, it's that time of the week again, as it always is, the good old Bundesliga and A League review. As we're winding down on a season now, we've only got a handful of Bundesliga games to go, only 4, I believe, remaining for A League teams, if I'm correct. 4 or 5, I'm not sure if every team's played the same amount of games, but it's there or thereabouts. But yeah, I mean, look, we've had
I know one that probably hasn't, but
Ben just completely chimed in to show you his thoughts after a game we'll probably dive into quite soon, in fact. But yeah, it's been another one of those weeks in both leagues. I mean, Sydney have lost 3rd place. Will we get it back? I think I've said before, I don't think we will once we're in. Let's just see. 4 games to go. We've really got to win at least 2 of them, I'd say, from this point on to stand a chance of making finals. So can we win 2 of our last 4? I mean, look, last season we had to win 1 of our we had to get a point from 2 games, and we lost our last 2 games to miss out on finals. So going off this team is capable of, no, I don't think we can win 2 of our last 4, but let's see. And Melbourne City coughing up late goals as well, so it's not been a great week for you, has it?
Yeah. That was my point just a second ago. Like, with the crazy fixturing of the A League this season, I can think of one team that hasn't certainly got 4 or 5 games left, and they've got a pretty long home run, just like Christmas all over again, really coming up. But we'll get to that as we go along. But something like that, yeah. But in terms of teams winning this weekend, I know one of them did, and but we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about the others.
We might just do it over the victory segment again, like last week.
That sounds good, because it's actually worth, from my point of view, it's actually worth talking about, because it was a result that nobody really expected. So
let's just dive straight into Bundesliga action. And
Bundesliga.
What better place to start? Let's just start with your game this morning. Why not? Let's just get it out of the way, shall we? Look, St. Pauli welcoming Freiburg to the old Milan tour this morning, needing a win, I would say, after other results around you, with the teams around you. So we'll get on to. I mean, look, it started really well for you. Sinani scoring from open play, unbelievably. Bit of scrappy goal, but you take them when it came. But in the second half, Freiburg just grew into the game, and you knew it was only a matter of time before that all started to change. And it's not looking good again, is it? Because Freiburg, they deservedly won that game in the end, just even though it was narrow in the end. I mean, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Where do I start? I actually got up and watched most of this game. And I'm probably regretting, not going to bed at halftime, thinking, we're ahead, and then finding out this morning we lost, which, but the Sinani goal was great from open play, but very scrappy. Probably fortunate the ball, he had 2 bites of it and the ball fell to him, so that was probably lucky, because we hadn't created too many chances. But it was actually nice to see some proper structure up forward. I can't say that too often this season, but look, in the second half, it was all Freiburg, really. And I knew, as I said to you before we jumped on, I knew that they were going to score eventually. The first Matanovic goal was class, just sort of coming off the hip. But fortunately enough, the second goal was ruled offside, and that's actually when I turned in. I thought, I'm not watching this. Turned in and then got a notification on my phone a couple of minutes later saying it was offside. Okay, I'll turn the phone back on, and then Matanovic scores. So, but that, my gripe here is, especially like you said, other teams around us have gotten results this weekend. Some of them have won. Nikola Vasil, you cannot parry a ball to the edge of the post, and just give Matanovic his second goal like that. You just can't do it. When every point matters, home points matter. It's probably our first home loss in a little while too. So I was pretty pissed off with the end result, although I knew Freiburg, but I think the commentator was saying they played in the Europa League midweek. And they've played 10 more games than we have too. So with a run of games, including you guys coming up, we have to start scoring goals and getting points, because would I be would I be happy with us in that relegation playoff if it ends up that way? Yes, because most of them, as we've talked about before, have gone the way of the Bundesliga side. But I don't want to have to sort of wait till the end of the season to find out if we are in that spot. I'd rather get some wins and get results, and especially against some of the teams around us. Köln still to come, Union's up next, Heidenheim again, Wolfsburg on the last day of the season. I don't want to have to sort of wait 7 weeks or whatever it is to know if we're going to be in that spot. I'd rather be comfortable like we were last season. I couldn't care less if we were in the same spot as last season. I just want us to start getting some results, and that's probably what's most disappointing about the last half an hour in this one. Just them breaking it open and having a second goal. I thought we might get a point, so but not to be. But we can't control what other teams around us are doing. We've got to match that. We just didn't do that with this one. So they're my thoughts.
Enough, right? You pretty much summed it up right there. We don't need to elaborate too much more on it. But yeah, it just another poor, not really performance, because I thought the first half you were pretty good, to be fair. But the second half, inexcusable really, when you have the position you're in. I know, like, obviously Freiburg are a better side, but considering they're the team we played only a couple of days ago, as you said, you expect them to be tired in the second half. But yeah, they came out, they looked rejuvenated and fresh, and they were all over you really. And I even think it should have been 3-1. I thought that offside was just a bit harsh, but they still won. And yeah, Vasil.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I have to agree with you there. But the thing that it probably annoys me even more, and I've mentioned this in how many games this season where it hasn't happened. Not trying to go for that 2-0 lead, that double up. Could that have possibly changed things?
I mean,
we don't know.
It's an issue. It's an issue. I think it's just to do with the manager, because I've rarely seen you under Blessing be the team to try and kill a game off. He's way too defensively minded in games, and whilst that can be handy in games against teams like Dortmund, Leverkusen, us, so on, where even getting a point from the game isn't a bad result, against teams, and especially in a position when you have to start winning games, that's when it falls flat. And I'm not going to sing that old song again, that if you stay up, you should probably sack him. I mean, look, you should sack him regardless. But, all I'll say is Brighton fans aren't 100% happy with Hurtzler, even though they just beat Liverpool. Would you take Fabian Hurtzler back next season if it were possible? Who knows, right?
Possibly, but I was just going to say, because what I actually heard as well, and we'll get to them later on, but Köln's manager's gone as well. So it seems like it's the summer / autumn, spring, whatever you want to call it, of managers losing their jobs. And to be perfectly honest, it's not a surprise, because there's been three managers I can think of off the top of my head that are gone and have been replaced. Not even at the start of the season, like during that sort of winter break, sort of post-winter break period. And if regardless of what happens, I think there needs to be a change in management. I would take Hurtzler back. I really rated him. Obviously, he got us promoted and won us the title. So, but like just to put a full stop on it, like I said, there's 6-7 games left. We've got you guys and Leipzig as the two hardest games in that run. But we've also got teams directly around us.
The focus is winning the winnable games now. Obviously, you picking up any points against us, Leipzig, is a bonus, but the focus should really be winning and getting points in the games which is more attainable. And it's
spot on.
Not helped on by other results this week, which we'll get into now. Another one this morning. Mainz, absolutely, with a deserved victory over Frankfurt, and this is off the back of making their first ever European quarter-final as well. So it's been one hell of a couple of days for Mainz and their fans and their team. A big win, which potentially gives them 1 foot in the safety door at this stage of the season as well. It's just been a weird old season for Mainz, and it kind of makes you think, had they had players like Amiri and especially Pal Nabel, who was excellent midweek and fantastic again with 2 goals in this game, had they had them
Brilliant.
available the full
Yeah.
season, maybe they wouldn't have been in such danger of relegation. Probably as it stands, they're going to be safe before they get dragged into a last few week dogfight. But look, I mean, great performance from Mainz, deserved win. Frankfurt, I mean, look, they they're not making top four, they're not going down, they're kind of consolidating themselves now. Maybe European football's still on from them, but look, it's this win was all about Mainz really at the end of the day, and a deserved win, and and a good time as well in the season to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for them that's a fantastic win. I just saw the highlights before, and Pound Able, just epic. But I mean, I think it was either last week or the week before we were talking about them being dragged into that relegation. It's amazing what a win does. For teams like them, now they're in 11th and a point away from Augsburg and Union now. So cracking in the top half of the table almost. So it just goes to show, week to week things can change for the better or the not so good. So yeah, that was fantastic from them, and I think it's going to give them hopefully a boost. And we talked about their European form, that quarter-final berth as well. Hopefully, hopefully for their sake, I like them as a team. Hopefully they can consolidate now.
Speaking of a team who are doing anything but consolidating down that end of the table, Wolfsburg, what an awful game to lose that was, and in the manner which they lost it as well, because they were the better team for most of that game with Wolfsburg, but the complete profligate players that they have in their team in terms of the chances wasted, I should say. One springs to mind later on in the game when Moura goes through wide, he has an option to pull it across the box, just tries the shot from a 10-degree angle and it misses the target as you'd expect. It's just, and a couple of other chances in the game that they just should have taken and just did not. And then, one of the few chances of Bremen going forward right at the very end of the game, Justin Jimmer shimmies in the box and just that little deflection on the shot, I mean, it's still his goal, I wouldn't call it an own goal, just takes it past Grabara and in off that far post. I mean, and Bremen fans in raptures because they picked up what is a huge 3 points for their survival chances. Wolfsburg lose a massive game, and now with the fact that teams above them, other than you, but the teams above them have won, including Bremen, they are running out of time now. Wolfsburg, they really need to get some wins, otherwise they are in serious danger of dropping. Yeah,
absolutely, and I think just sort of based on this game, both keepers sort of up until that goal were really good. Grabara made some really good early, so I actually watched a little bit of this game.
Mia Backhouse, saved that.
Look, I think
it was in the first half, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant, the incredible bit of goalkeeping.
Yeah.
But as I said, it goes down to Van Wolfsburg with a better team. They deserve to win this game, and they just did not put their chances away. And Bremen hit them where it hurt most, when it hurt most, and took a massive 3 points from them.
Yeah, Jimmer kissing it off the post. Yeah, fantastic finish. But I think from where things play out now, I think Wolfsburg, as I said before, their probably only option of getting past us, unless they start getting some wins, is on the final day when they play us. And I really hope to God it doesn't come down to that, because we'll get to another game where I experienced over the weekend, which was striking, juicing. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Really panic stations, and now they're 5 points off safety, because I'm counting safety as not the playoff spot, obviously, even though most likely teams who end up in the playoff probably win it, but maybe it's different this season. But they're 5 points off 15th right now, and they need something, and it's not happening for them.
Yeah, they've got to get results from games aside from the last day, because that's the thing, and hopefully, from my point of view, hopefully that is the case. But I mean, I think, but certainly not the season so far they wanted to have, especially. I don't think they've ever been relegated, if that's correct, and they're not sort of used to being where they are.
They have,
Right, okay. Yeah. So they're not used to it, and I guess the question for them now is how are they going to get out of it. But from a Bremen point of view, look, they won a couple of weeks ago. and they did the right thing by themselves now. This weekend, and I guess that sort of gives them a bit of breathing space now. But other results for the two sides below them could easily chuck them back in that conversation.
Yeah, so
but good on them.
You were about to bring the next game up.
I certainly was, yeah. So, where are we? Let's talk about the game I was actually looking at. It's another sort of relegation threatened, in fact, relegation doomed side. So Heidenheim somehow getting a draw at home against Leverkusen.
Obviously we've mentioned this before, and it's happened about a month ago now that Frank Schmidt actually admitted that his team were basically down. But look, even though they're not mathematically relegated, but probably in all likeliness still are, the fight they showed in this game was superb. Because watching those highlights back, at 2-0, Leverkusen looked like they were cruising for another 6-0 like they did to them earlier this season, of course. And it just didn't pan out that way. Leverkusen just cannot win games right now, no matter what they're trying. Obviously, they had a massive hand from the officials against us last week and couldn't get over the line against 9 men against a completely gone Heidenheim, 2-0 up and looking comfortable. And then even 3-2 later in the game, they still ended up sharing the points. Like, it's seriously damaging their top 4 chances, and they're running out of weeks to start winning games consistently because they're out of the Champions League, and the way things are going, it doesn't look like they're getting back into it at least next season. But look, for Heidenheim's sake, look, they're probably still going down in all likeliness, but look, performances like this, spirited performances, at least something they can cling on to at the end of the season, or at least, at times they gave it a go. Because as I said, they got patterned by them 6-0 earlier this season, and this game definitely did not pan out that way this time, did it? Yeah, no. Well,
they won the second half, and it's about those, when you're in a situation, in any competition, it's about the little wins, even though, like coming from 2-0 down and getting a point against one of the best sides, in fact, one of the most recent champions, is at home is something, right?
Marvin
Pieringa back on the score sheet.
Last season, but the season before they did it,
what I should have said in recent memory, So, my bad, but that's something. And I suppose if they are going to go down, and it probably looks like they still are, it's a performance that they can still, be proud of, and they can hold their heads up high.
It's often the case that when a team resigns itself to the fact that they're relegated, they usually play better. Obviously, it's not mathematical yet, and anything can still happen. But look, it's just good to see a team still fighting when they've not got an awful lot to fight for, I guess, is a way to put it. Speaking of 3-3s, because in the rest of the games we talk about, there's been a blitz of goals across them. There was another one in the derby between Köln and Gladbach, and what a game it was, and Köln getting themselves that late equaliser to keep themselves just clear of that bottom 3, because they're definitely still in that relegation picture. Gladbach getting another point to keep themselves further clear of the danger zone. It was one hell of a game, wasn't it?
Three goals in the first 10 minutes, first one in the opening minute. I don't think we've said that at all really this season. But certainly, look, really sort of solid fight from Köln at home. We talked just before about needing to pick up points wherever you can. And this is a great example of that. I mean, going down to 10 men late on and having to really grimly defend and hold on. But Martel scoring a goal and then getting sent off 2 minutes later, just you wouldn't read about it, right? So, but for Gladbach, I mean, is it a fair result for them? I don't know, but probably would have expected maybe to hang on, but what else can we say really? It's Almala and Ragnar Aka both on the score sheet.
Look, whatever happens with Köln this season, whether they stay up, go down, right, we don't know yet. Said Almala is a player for me who's definitely going to move to a bigger club, I reckon, in the summer, because he just looks like he's destined for that next step in his career. Obviously, Rocco Reitz has already confirmed him, I believe, to Leipzig, if I'm correct. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
right.
like players
Correct,
are already getting their way moving. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Sadio Mane stays at Cologne this summer, regardless of whether they stay up or go down. I think he's definitely got the quality to move up the league and make that next step in his career. But yeah, it was one crazy derby. Like the way it started, the way it finished, it's everything you want from a derby from a neutral perspective, isn't it? Yeah.
It absolutely is, and you know, great for Köln. As you said, they've got a couple of points of a gap between them and the bottom three now, and
they can far from start celebrating that they're clear from danger, because the fact is they still need to get points, and they need to get them fast, because you know, even though the gap is opening, I mean, look, they don't want to get pulled into the playoff spot. They've got you behind them. Maybe the only solace they can have is they've got St. Pauli and Wolfsburg behind them. And maybe they can look at the fact that they don't think they're too confident that those two, they're confident that those two sides, apologies, as one of them's your team, will pick up enough points to threaten them. So maybe that will get them over the line. But yeah, who knows?
It does probably paper over the, like you just said, it's probably not time for them to celebrate yet. I think it is papering over the cracks of the bigger picture now, and it's another one of those teams. They've got to get points in the games against their rivals, you know, us and hopefully not us, but other teams around them too, and it's just the way it is now with things really heating up. What I love about the season so far is the fact that we've got a really good, you know, relegation conversation, and where it could actually go down to the last couple of games, and it's what you like to see, unless your team's involved in it.
That last game of the season that you play against Wolfsburg is a relegation decider, like between a playoff and automatic, right? That would be something, wouldn't it? But
yes, it would be. It would be something. Yeah,
moving
definitely.
on to another game which had an absolute blitz of goals. It was this morning when Stuttgart ran out 5-2 winners against Augsburg. Stuttgart, off the back of being eliminated from the Europa League by Porto midweek, looking to bounce back, and bounce back they most certainly did against an Augsburg side who were sitting in mid-table, you know, picking up points here and there, but still nevertheless suffered a very heavy defeat in this game and were outplayed largely in this game. Dennis Undav, I mean, look, full marks to probably the biggest team player going around in football this week for passing up that easy hat-trick opportunity to give Demirovic a goal.
Right.
So full credit to him.
Is it easier for us going forward between now and the end of the year just to tell our viewers when he's not scoring, like when he's not on the score sheet? I think it's but you know, I guess that sort of giving up that goal to Demirovic probably says the the unselfishness and as you said, the team player of him in a team that's been, you know, up and down this season.
No,
really, I think that's fair to say.
With Leverkusen dropping points constantly the way they are, and Stuttgart, you know, it just I mean, I'll check the table now, but I'm pretty sure they're in third. Yeah, they're now 3 points clear of Leipzig in third, and you know, they've shown at times enough this season that they've got what it takes to really make a push and go all the way, and I definitely think they're favourites for the Champions League, along with obviously Arsenal and Dortmund. But yeah, a fantastic performance from them. Undav again, I mean, he's just incredible. And I haven't checked Germany's squad for the upcoming international break, but I would be surprised if he didn't get called up. But yeah, like great top marks to Stuttgart. Not great from Augsburg, but I don't, but it's just one of those days really for them.
They won't be too concerned. I think it's been a bit up and down for them. They've had some good results and some like this where they've just been blown away. But I will say they're not the only side this weekend in this. I was going to say there's another side. I think it's probably good that we go through that one now.
Friday night to the Friday.
Let's have a talk because that's got massive implications for both these sides.
Of the team for so long and saying how the fans love our podcast and how many months it took them to lose a game or whatever. But sorry, Hoffenheim fans, you're falling away at the wrong point of the season. Leipzig absolutely outclassed them. Was it 4-0 at half-time or something ridiculous like that? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Christoph Baumgartner
with the double before the half-hour mark.
Instrumental in a win for Leipzig. huge from them, getting themselves back into Europe after missing it last season, right in and amongst it now. Outstanding from them, really. Hoffenheim absolutely blown away, and they've slipped out of the top four now after a few inconsistent results over the last couple of weeks, and it's going a bit pear-shaped at the long end of the season for Hoffenheim, it looks like.
Definitely, and I think we've talked in the last few weekends about the cream starting to rise to the top. This is a perfect example of that happening. The whips are starting to crack now, and the best teams are starting to show their wares. And I mean, Leipzig have had some off days, but this was certainly not one of them. I mean, 4-0 by the half, and Hoffenheim really not showing anything. I mean, Baumann, having to pick the ball out of his net
not
5
great
times.
Considering he's Germany's number one.
No.
At the moment.
No.
Maybe Nagelsmann will rethink that. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah. Most definitely, but Leipzig just crushing them really, and like you said, not the right time of the season to start dropping points and sliding back.
One of the players, in my opinion, who's gone under the radar a little bit this season, not only as a captain of the club, but also in terms of just as a defender and his performances off that kind of right-hand side. David Raum has been quietly having a very good season for Leipzig, I think. He many times in their games he's looked very good, and this was another performance where he was excellent in that kind of wing-back role that he plays for them.
Yeah. He's very. Our viewers won't know this, but there's actually some footage that we saw last week of him in another game. Shall we say he's a very vocal member of the Leipzig side? As your captain, there's vocal, and then there's voracious in terms of letting the referee know what you think, basically.
It's a question, right? Like, is he gonna carry that form over into the summer, because Germany could need it in their World Cup, of course. Like, if he is, could be their secret weapon, mouthing off at the referee at every turn. Who knows? Is that what wins them the World Cup? We'll move on and wrap up with the last two games. We'll start with mine. As comfortable as could possibly be. Not quite the same task laid in front of us when Union stopped our winning start to the season earlier this season away from home. We turned up and it was very comfortable from the first minute to the last. Probably as comfortable as a game as we've had mostly this season. Union barely laying a glove on us, barely threatening Urbig. Just nothing really apart from a few barely even half chances. Bayern just way too good for Union. Michael Elise once again shining. Without Luis Diaz, as controversial as his sending off last week was, we got the business done without him. Leonard Carl again having a pretty good performance and getting rewarded, of course, because he's been called up to the national team for the first time, like the proper national team. So fair credit to Leonard Carl. Is he going to make a late push to get into their World Cup squad? I wonder. But yeah, just another one of those games for Bayern where it's just, it's super comfortable. Serge Gnabry, it's always good that he can just still pop up and just get a couple of goals sometimes when we need him to show the kind of strength and depth that we have in this squad, that even without Luis Diaz we just Union nothing in this game really.
No. And with that in mind, I guess from my point of view, would you say that this is probably one of those Bayern results where you barely got out of first gear? Obviously,
because, we didn't score until the 43rd minute, so it wasn't like we just hit cruise control from the beginning. We did have to work hard, but that second half, just as soon as because we were 2-0 up, of course, at the break. And then Kane scored early in the second half. At that point, it was pretty much cruise control from that point on. Not really much else I can say about this. No worry, Diaz misses this one game. He'll be back next week for Freiburg. Yeah, I mean, the main focus is, of course, that Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid ahead of us, and obviously the Pokal semi-final against Leverkusen in a month's time or so. So, that's where it kind of comes down to now. But look, good to get a clean sheet again. Jonas Urbig is, again, I think already becoming the do we need Neuer anymore, sort of thing. Because every game he plays, I'm getting more and more impressed with Jonas Ervig, for how good he's been. I mean, a very nifty little pickup we got from Köln midway through last season, and already this young keeper is proving to be a very talented keeper. So yeah, but great for him. Depending on what's happening with Neuer in the summer, right, he could potentially get the #1 jersey, and deservedly so, next season. But yeah, look, comfortable for us. Union absolutely had nothing in the game, but that's just the way it is when teams play us fairly often, right? So yeah, just they're kind of just going back towards their usual mid-table, really, Union, and look, not much else I can really say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, just one of those sort of stock standard buying games. But I mean, Union, they probably wouldn't want to start sliding at this time of the year. I mean, looking at the table, what are we, ninth, and they've got at least a couple of sides, probably 3 sides. Mainz, Hamburg, and Gladbach breathing down their necks. Bremen even too, maybe, depending on what results start to form in the next few weeks. But and obviously international break coming up this weekend as well. But is that going to be a sort of a Hoffenheim situation where they start to keep dropping points, or is it going to galvanise them and they start picking up points? I mean, their next opponents are us, so that's going to be a big test for them to see whether they've learned anything from that result and will they bounce back or not. I hope they don't,
exactly.
But
and
we'll see.
Wrap up the Bundesliga portion with the last game, and it was a game that really annoyed the fuck out of me because Hamburg were 2-0 up and in with a chance of taking points off Dortmund. Not that I'm worried about them catching us, but the earlier we can wrap up this title, the better it is for the Champions League and the Pokal, because then we can focus everything into that. They're playing Stuttgart next week, incidentally, Dortmund, so I'm really hoping Stuttgart can take something from them in that game, because Hamburg should have in this. But look, full credit to Dortmund, what a comeback that was, because Hamburg were all over them at the beginning and deservedly 2-0 up. And then obviously the Metsch's missed penalty didn't make matters better for his side. But then look, second half they came out rejuvenated, refreshed, and went at them and were, as soon as Ben Sebaini scored the second penalty, the 3 that they had, at 2-1, then I thought, they're probably going to go and win it, and that's exactly what transpired. Fabio Silva getting a rare goal, and then Ben Sebaini from the spot again to get the win. I mean, look, Hamburg will feel incredibly annoyed that they let that slip. I mean, it's funny because this is the kind of result that me and you kind of have mixed emotions for. I wanted Dortmund to drop points. You definitely didn't want Hamburg to get any points from it. So it's a result that you're happy with. It's a result I'm quite pissed off with.
But I mean, obviously from a Dortmund point of view, I mean, Felix Metscher missing a penalty either before or just after the half. But obviously then, Dortmund just flicked that switch, and we're seeing them do that so many times this season where they can score, pretty quickly. I mean, what was it, 3 goals in 12 minutes? So, well, I've got the details up here. So I mean, Otele, and then Sambi Lokonga, great second goal.
Silva scored the equaliser. It says Guarassi.
No, it's Guarassi.
It's hard to tell from the angle of the goal, because it looked like Fabio Silva.
Or as I'm calling him now, Guarassi Junior High. If you know the show, people, you'll understand what I mean. Chester, if you're not familiar with that, I'll explain it to you once we jump off here. It's classic TV in this country. Stock standard result, I think, for Dortmund. The fact that they've managed to come back from deficits this season just shows the mark of them as a side. And I think you said they've got Stuttgart coming up next. That's going to be that's going to be a great result. But I think to wrap up the weekend, the relegation fight's heading up, as we probably expected it to. The cream at the top is starting to rise. There's a couple of sides that have probably slid. Eintracht are one, Hoffenheim's the other. By comparison, Leipzig starting to find their rhythm, and seven games left or something like that after the break. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
You guys are looking like you're going to definitely get a relegation fight this time round. unless of course.
But we have for a while.
Because the
let's
next
face
two
it.
games you have after the break, it's not going to be easy for you to win away at Union. It's definitely not going to be easy to beat us. So that could be another two games.
Can anything out against you guys?
That
Yeah.
go by without a win and potentially another 2 defeats, and then that kind of leaves you. Leaves you with 5 games to play, and still on 24 points if you lose the next 2, and then well, you probably are in a relegation fight at that point. So it really does hinge on these next 2 games for you to get something out of them from. Because if you lose them both, you're in trouble.
Yep.
The only
Park that
thing
bus,
is,
baby. Park that bus.
because I think we've said before, like you would take a playoff spot because I believe you said you'd be confident you could win that playoff if you had.
Well, I think didn't we say last week that and I was trying to find the stats, I couldn't. Most of those playoffs have actually gone to the way of the Bundesliga side, so that gives me some confidence. I mean, I haven't checked the standings. I think it was Elversberg and Elversberg, whatever they're called. Paderborn, I think, were up there as well. What does it say?
They're level on points with Elversberg. Yeah, but Darmstadt are also a point further back, and Hanover are 2 points further back, so it's quite tight up at that top. And Schalke, to be fair, are only 1 point clear at the top, so it's incredibly close. The top 5 is really close right now in this fight to Bundesliga. So look, if you end up in that playoff spot, you could be playing one of those 5 teams. I think Hertha are a bit too far back now, but
No. I hope for our sake we're saying by the end of that 2-legged playoff, Elversberg have left the building. So, A-League, what happened in the A-League this weekend? Terrible pun from me, but I'll own that. Like and subscribe, folks.
We'll start with the old Friday game for that, which I believe, that's right. Of course, I forget about that. Wanderers basically seeing their season all but come to an end at the hands of Adelaide. Because 4 games left for them to play. They're not going to make the finals now, are they? Let's be real. They're 7 points adrift of MacArthur now. It's quite likely that Wanderers are not going to get anything from this season anymore. I mean, they could quite rightly still finish bottom as well, which would be quite amazing. We've got them next, so I mean, if we can get back to winning ways and beat them, we don't. Sorry, my bad. You have them next. But incredible from Adelaide, really. Wanderers just absolutely all over the place, aren't they? And it's things you love to see, really. While Sydney's struggling at the moment, at least it's good to see Wanderers are doing even worse. There's another one of those games for Adelaide. They're so used to scoring goals in games, but they just don't have any consistency either. So, they didn't draw 1-1, which is a change, I guess.
Yeah, it is, and look, I think we've got Wanderers next week and a rare game at home for us. I didn't actually realise we had a home game until I checked the fixture with all the other stuff I've got going on my calendar. Yes, yep. Yeah, will I be posting from home at the end of the game in a haze of rage, as I'm calling that term now? I think that's stuck. Or will it actually be a positive result? We're going to talk about our result sort of later on, but I think from a Wanderers point of view, their season's pretty much queue in the rack type stuff, really.
And Adelaide can keep they're looking strong for the finals, really, at this point. But on to the Saturday games. I mean, Auckland again, what are you doing? They beat Newcastle last week, and it looks for all money that the title race is well and truly on, and then they lose to MacArthur. It's like, what is happening? Like, if it's not Newcastle, every other team in the league this season, and maybe Victory at the moment, are actually annoyingly consistent. But apart from those two, every other team has zero consistency, and it's just ridiculous, isn't it? And they weren't even good. Like, MacArthur deservedly win this, in my opinion. Over such a poor performance after such a promising win last week. It's just, with the other result, which we'll get onto shortly, for Newcastle, it's practically all but ended the title race, in my opinion, with 4 games to play. Looks not great from Auckland, and there's nowhere else to look. I mean, look, we go across also on Saturday. Wellington getting themselves back in winning ways. Brisbane, maybe our prediction of 11th or whatever it was at the beginning of the season is actually starting to potentially actually be true for Brisbane, because they have absolutely fallen off a cliff in the second half of this season in terms of their form, haven't they?
They have, and you know, against the side sort of that we'd expect them to perform well against, and they have. I mean, I can't remember the last result between those two. Was it Wellington that put them away pretty convincingly? But they played each other early in the season, and Brisbane actually played quite well.
Back-to-back wins for Wellington, who under Chris Greenacre are now back within a point of the top 6. So, you know, Corbin Piper getting himself on the score sheet again. He's becoming a bit of a go-to man for them right now, as it's all getting quite tight in and around that top 6. You know, again, you know, I mean, look, should we talk about victories? 4-1 win against comfortable 4-1 win against Mariners. Mata superb again. They're looking like, if it's not Newcastle, it might annoyingly be them this season. Or should we talk about your Saints game? I mean, look, maybe we will. We'll quickly touch on. Look, before we do, let's just touch on our two teams' games yesterday. Look, we'll start with my lot against Newcastle. I'm of the impression now. I said it earlier with this podcast. 2 wins from the last 4 gets us finals, and I'm worried we can even achieve that. Even though we're playing Perth, Brisbane, and Wanderers in those last 4, so we have 3 teams who are currently outside of the playoffs, so we should be able to win some games, you'd think, right? Of course, the other game I think is awkward, so we can write that one off if I double check the fixtures here.
Yeah, and we're not talking. I was going to say we're not talking about Tuesday night's fixture either. That's in the book.
Regular season, so if we can win the next 3 games, we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, look, it's just I don't know where else to go. I mean, like, I've heard of players downing tools. I mean, I'm not going to say Ufuk-Talay is downing tools, but some of the decision making in recent games, go back to the game midweek against you guys. Some of the, like, this is what annoys me, right? The recruitment have been absolutely diabolical from us in January. In January, we had Joe Lolly having injury issues. Al Hassan Toure was still injured at the time. So we had a chance to go and recruit players in their positions. The first half of the season, when we were playing so well, they were crucial to the performances. The whip, the attack, the creativity and the pace. The creativity from Lolly and the pace from Toure on the other wing was crucial to how we were winning games and how we were playing. They both get injured. Wallity gets injured as well. We have almost nothing there in terms of width. What does our recruitment team do? We sign a centre forward and another central attacking midfielder. This is why we're in this position. Every single week, Ufuk-Talay is having to play players out of position. Well, he doesn't have to, because I've got an issue with that as well. Like, we should not be trying to play, because we've technically got 3 central attacking midfielders in this team. Kisbeh, Arslan, Quintal. This is what annoys me about coaches in this league, because it's not just us, but other teams do it as well. Stop fucking playing players out of position just because you want to put the best players in your squad in every fucking starting lineup. I know he didn't start Quintal in this game, but like, my point still stands. We're playing players out. Like, we'll go back to the game with you. Like, you beat us 1-0. We were pathetic. You guys weren't particularly great yourself. 4-2-4 against a team that are in dire. Going into that game, haven't won in fucking 20 years. It felt like. Awful Melbourne City side, no offence. We basically play a formation that gives them every single chance of breaking on us and making a threat. And whilst we were going up the other end ourselves with regularity, the lack of composure that we have in our forward line this season is absolutely laughable at times. I'm sorry, Campazano might be one of the worst strikers we've ever had at the club. I don't think I've seen a striker so incapable of reading a situation when the ball's coming at him and knowing how to do it. He just panics. The amount of times I've seen a ball come at him and he just kind of stumbles his way towards it, or takes the weakest shot imaginable when he's one-on-one, or like, you know, it's just ridiculous. I mean, look, he's got great work rate, but my fucking God, he's diabolically shit when the ball's at his feet. like in those positions. Like, I can't believe I'm saying we should be starting Pat fucking Wood over him, but at least he actually offers something of a goal threat, I guess you could say. Like, my word.
Yeah.
I mean, Stamatolopoulos, I'm convinced, is actually just come here for a holiday because he's sick and tired of the Scottish weather. Like, because he's been shocking. Not that we've actually given him much service, but even then. Arsene, yeah, he tries, but he hasn't got that much qualities. Some of the shot choices from him and Sydney in general are just like, look, Thiago Quintal is our best attacking player right now this season without Joe Lolly and Toure fully fit. Like, it's just ridiculous. I'm just hoping that this next international break and maybe another 2 games from now, Lolly's back for the last few games of the season. Like, I don't know where to turn with this. Like, Sydney just, look, I'll give us credit for the fight we showed in the second half, and we were kind of, the possession against Newcastle in the first half was good, but again, what happens when you can't do anything with the possession, can't take chances? You're probably going to lose or draw, and that's what happened. Look, full credit to Newcastle, they've almost certainly won this league now, and it's the first time they've ever won the Premier League if they get this, and they deserve it as well, because they have really been the only team this season with any semblance of consistency throughout most of this season. And fair play to Mark Milligan, because the team, you look at the team, the lack of experience in terms of the age of the players, yet they look so much better than the majority of the opposition they're coming up against. Is down to the coaching, and really that's about it. And just fair credit to them. But yeah, look, Sydney are in trouble. We've got to win, and we've got to win fast, and I'm not confident we can, but let's just see. Before we wrap up with the Saints talk, instead of the Melbourne victory review, your guys again,
That's going to be a rant in itself, by the way, so buckle up, folks.
Touch on your game over in Perth late last night. Not ideal, really. Looking like you probably should have gone on to win that game. There was a point, though, like when I was watching the highlights back, like you were comfortable, and then all of a sudden, in the last 10 minutes, you were just awful out of nowhere. Like Perth were breaking, like how Taggart missed that one-on-one, I'll never know. They had a couple of other chances after that they should have taken, and they do eventually, very late on, get that equaliser, but you could have lost that game in that last 10 minutes from a position of absolute comfort. You just completely shat the bed, and I don't know what happened there.
It's not the first time that's happened this year, and I didn't see the game. I was actually watching the West Coast North Melbourne game, and we don't talk about AFL much on this podcast. West Coast winning their first game in nearly a year last night, so I think I said to you, Glory and Eagles both winning on the same night is pretty rare. I'm sorry, Glory didn't win, but they got points. But look, I was pretty pissed off that we didn't hold that lead, especially giving up that goal in injury time. But nothing really surprises me with City this year. I just really hope now we've got 6 games or whatever it is left before finals, and hope 5. Sorry, hopefully we're a part of those finals. But just nothing like this. Leading for most of the game and then conceding with about 4 minutes left. That doesn't surprise me with this mob this year. It's just been one of those seasons, unfortunately.
We'll give a mention quickly. Adam Taggart now becoming Perth Glory's all-time leading A-League goal scorer, so huge congratulations to doing that. Especially when he's been there for the last couple of years, where with the exception of the first half of this season, they've been a largely quite average side. So look, fair credit to him, right? But not a point that's not really ideal for either side, really, but especially not your guys in terms of chasing that final spot, which is definitely still in reach of with the game in hand, but you do need to find some consistency, which is obviously a little too much to ask from most of the teams this season. But look, victory, I'll quickly touch on it. Victory 4, Mariners 1. Juan Mata superb again. If it's not going to be all gone, so Jets probably annoyingly is going to be victory to win the grand final this season, not the Premier League. Obviously, that's pretty much all the Newcastles you'd imagine at this point. Although they do still have to play each other, so who knows? Hopefully, Newcastle will do it though. But look, good on your victory. You win. You're finding some consistency where other teams other than Newcastle can't. But now, you guys got off the mark, didn't you?
We certainly did. And look, what can I say except the fact that I've sort of spoken to you during the week, and we do have a live stream coming up in the next few weeks. But what I was actually thinking during the game is this would have been the perfect one to do, simply because of my emotional state. Roller coaster doesn't even begin to describe it. I was standing up for most of the last quarter, and just to set the scene, I've actually, yeah, that's right, from the couch. Saints led, kicked 5 goals to 1 in the first quarter. They were out by 32 points at half time. We're still in front by 27 at 3/4 time, and I thought, okay, this looked good, but one thing, viewers, as a Saints fans, you can never discount is the opposition team coming back somehow, and that's exactly what happened. There's a clip of the last 2 minutes, I think, somewhere on the AFL website. Go and watch it, because it basically, it's all you need to see of the entire game, really. Don't bother watching the first 3 quarters. The drive. Not to mention as well, there was a 50-minute lightning delay before the game even started. So it's bad enough doing all your warm-ups and going out, and you're meant to start at 4:15. You go back inside due to lightning for 50 fucking minutes. We talk about the Sydney weather for the test matches and all this shit. It's still quintessentially Sydney weather on Saturday. But anyway, we got off the mark. I'm stoked about that, because I've jumped on social media pretty much all weekend and basically said, how about that? No one tipped us. No one said we should win. People had said, don't even bother, save your fuel. There's a fuel crisis in Australia. Don't even bother turning up. And that's what happened. So big, how about that to our haters? And there's some of them that, because we've spent a lot of money in the off-season, we're despised. I don't know why, but we've got, we're back at Marvel on Saturday, the first Marvel game for the year, against the 2-time reigning champs in Brisbane. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's just nice to not be 0-3, as everybody said we would be. But when that siren went mad, I was incredibly relieved, to say the very least. So
already, like that, you don't think you're going to beat Brisbane this weekend.
I think if we put in a similar game to what we did on the weekend, there's possibly a chance that we can. They're coming off the bye as well, and they've got a couple of outs that are important to them. But we'll have to wait and see. We've got the bye next week as well. So I think from our point of view, if we can go 2-2 going into that week off and the Easter weekend, with those back-to-back Adelaide trips as well coming up afterwards, I think it'll be really good for us. But we'll have to wait and see.
Did you hate watch any of your rivals losing this week?
Collingwood had the bye. Carlton had the bye. Essendon did get smacked by about 60 points or something yesterday, so that was quite good. Because as bad as people say we are, at least we're not them. So, and they haven't won in, almost a year now as well. So I did say it was great to see West Coast get the monkey off the back, and I'll tell you why. Because their last win was against us last year, and that was the only game they won all year. So thank you, West Coast. Because we're no longer that trivia question and that fact that we can never talk about that game again now, and I think that's just fantastic. Let's leave that where it deserves to be, right in the past. But yeah, look, good to have games back, and this stupid thing about having buys so early in the season is ridiculous. Get rid of opening round. Everyone starts equal at the start of the year. Get back to that. I'm looking for some neutral games I can go to in the MCC as well. So I'll be sort of looking at that maybe next week or the week after with the bye, perhaps.
Sheffield Shield final coming up in a couple of weeks, I believe, don't you?
Yes, that's
this week. Sorry.
No, this week. It's this week. Yeah, Thursday. I think day one. So I'll be walking
2, 4, right?
Thursday. Yep. Yeah, with my MCC membership. So cricket at Victoria. I was going to say cricket Australia for a second.
Possibly 5. You could get the 5th day as well if it goes to a 5th day. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That'd be great, but that'll be actually a really good contest. First time I think in 7 years that we've hosted the final, so that'll be massive. And
I mean, look, before we end this week's video,
South
Australia have a good look inside, though. I believe Doggett's been ruled out.
Yeah. No, I think we can. I think we've had a really good season. We've got Poland and I don't know yet, but I assume you will. Yeah. Maxwell's not playing, I don't think. He's been smacking it around at Premier level for Fitzroy Doncaster. So shout out to them. But look, I think the Vics can do it, and rightly so. They've been the best team all year. But one thing I've learnt from different codes, and it's the one we just talked about, finishing top at the end of the season counts for nothing at this time of the year, right?
Make sure you got yourself well fed for that final, because you got a lot of cricket to watch at the end of this week.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of food options around.
You're going to bring some cherries again like you did last time. Oh yeah.
For the test, but yeah, I will. There's Woolies Metro just around the corner on the way to the game, and I think I've got a free coffee on my card somewhere. One of these fine establishments in the area.
Junction, right?
So look, it is. And look, hopefully I haven't checked the forecast, but hopefully the weather's good, and then that rolls into Saturday at Marvel. 12:35 bounce, which is ridiculous. Also, while I'm on my high horse, 12:35.
Oh, 12:35. So you can't ask why
it's
you
ridiculous.
Can't do all 4 days, and
It used to be like 1:30 or something, and you know me. I'm usually not rolling out of bed until like 10:30, 11 o'clock. So but great win on Saturday. I think we needed it given the
exactly.
So day 3, which is Saturday, I'm out. But looking forward to getting through. But look, great to see the Saints get off the mark for my mental health as much as anything else.
Yeah. Look, we'll wrap it up now then for this week. Just keep in mind with my job, everyone, my job is due to either start Wednesday, hopefully all things considered, or at least next week. So our schedule's going to change just slightly with the fact that we're going to be recording later on Mondays and Thursdays going forward. So uploads will most likely be Tuesdays and Fridays now as opposed to Mondays and Thursdays, because late recording means we're probably unlikely to get it out that night. So it will be the following day, so the Tuesday and Friday. But look, we'll leave it there, everyone. That'll wrap up for another week of the old Bundesliga and A League review. Once again, hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll be back on Thursday, of course, but the upload will probably be Friday. But we'll be back on Thursday for that next tea break episode. And obviously we got the international break coming up, so we won't have a review next week, of course. So we'll have to find something to fill in on the Monday episode, won't we?
I'm sure we can find.
We have 3 consecutive tea breaks, most likely, for you people coming up. So look forward to that. But we'll leave it now, and we'll see you guys back later this week with the next tea break episode. So peace out, take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.